Yo, what's up, guys? My name is Nicholas Earl, and welcome back to another episode of Earl Sports Bets. And this is the video I've been waiting for a very long time. March Madness is here. The brackets are out. The teams have been released. Everything is now in place. It's time to fill out a bracket. But before we get into the video, you guys know what to do. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. And you can turn on post notifications so you guys are notified each and every time we come out with a video here at Earl Sports Bets. Now, what we'll be doing for filling out this bracket is we'll be looking at the numbers like we did with the conference championships, where we used the last 6 games. So that's what we'll be doing for this bracket fill out. But let's get into the video. Also, you can follow us on social media at BetsEarl on Twitter, at Earl Sports Bets on Instagram. We also have a Discord link if you guys want to join that. The link to that will be in the description in the video as well. And we also have merch. We have t-shirts, masks, phone cases, stickers, stuff like that. If you want to check out our merch and support the channel that way, the link to that will also be in the description of the video down below. But without further ado, let's fill out a bracket. Now, I accidentally clicked on Gonzaga there, but obviously Gonzaga is going to be my pick for that game. So let's get it started here with the West region. What we'll be doing, we'll go through the round of 64, then the 32, then the 16-8. We're not going to just pick to the Final Four. We're going to go bracket by bracket. So we're going with Gonzaga over Norfolk State. We're picking Norfolk State over App State. For Oklahoma versus Mizzou, we have a 4.5-point win for Mizzou over Oklahoma. Next, we have Creighton taking on UC Santa Barbara. Now, Santa Barbara, I know a lot of people like them as a potential upset pick, but we're going with Creighton in this matchup. I have them winning by 7.8 points. So we have Creighton advancing on to play the winner of Virginia and Ohio, and this is our first big upset of the tournament. Winners by 0.9 points, according to my numbers. Ohio will advance and knock out Virginia in the first round and advance on to play Creighton in the second round. Next, we have USC taking on Wichita, the winner of Wichita State and Drake, which we have Wichita winning the first 4 game. And we're going to have USC, though, advancing to the second round, a 1.7-point win over Wichita State. Next, we have Kansas taking on Eastern Washington. That's cool. Eastern Washington. And for this match, we're looking at the Jayhawks here, the number 3 seed, to advance a 4.7-point win. So a rather close game. So I may look to bet Eastern Washington if the spread's big enough. But we're going with Kansas in the first round versus Eastern Washington. Next, we have Oregon taking on VCU. And we are going to be quacking on the way to the round of 32 as we have the Ducks knocking off VCU. And then next we have Iowa taking on Grand Canyon as we have Iowa advancing in this game. 11.7-point win for Iowa in that round. All right, we're going to head down to the east. Actually, we're going to go up to the south here where we have, there we go. Baylor taking on Hartford to start it on off. And we have Baylor winning this game by 10.6 points. 1 seed, no explanation there. Next, we have a 8 versus 9 matchup. I really like this matchup. Wisconsin taking on North Carolina. And we're going with the Tar Heels here to knock off Wisconsin, a 1.8-point win, setting up a fun matchup against Baylor. Next, we have Villanova taking on Winthrop. And now I know a lot of people have Winthrop circled as one of those, it's a 12 seed. It's a 12 seed. We're going with Nova here. I think they get the job done. They win by 3.8 points according to my numbers. And advance on to play the winner of Purdue and North Texas, where we're going to be taking the Boilermakers to knock off North Texas in that matchup. The number 4 seed advances on to play Villanova with a 12.2-point win versus the Mean Green. Next, we have Texas Tech taking on Utah State, and we have Texas Tech knocking off Utah State here by 2.4 points, taking on the winner of Arkansas and Colgate, which will be Arkansas. They get the job done, a 5.6-point win over Colgate in that matchup. Next, we have the Gators taking on Virginia Tech, the Hokies. And a close one here, as we have Florida advancing to the next round by 0.7 points. And then we'll have them play the winner of Oral Roberts and Ohio State, which is going to be the Buckeyes as they get the job done. A 9.2 point win for the Buckeyes. Next, we go to the East, where we have Michigan taking on the winner of Mount St. Mary's and Texas Southern, which will be Mount St. Mary's. Mount St. Mary's will win that game by 3.8 points, but Michigan will knock them off by 16.7 and advance to play the winner of St. Bonaventure and LSU, which will be St. Bonaventure. They get the 3.3 win versus the Tigers. LSU looked really good in that SEC championship game today, almost knocked off Alabama. That would have been a fun little rematch to see, but I don't think we're going to see that. Next, we have Colorado and Georgetown, and this one is the 12 seed. I have circled. They looked really good through that Big East tournament. Talk about a hot team coming into March. This is a team as a 12 seed that I want to back. This is looking really good for Georgetown, and they may make it more than one round. Who knows? Next, we have Florida State versus UNC Greensboro, and this is one where I was looking maybe an upset, but my numbers said otherwise. We're going with Florida State here, a 7.7 point win versus UNCG. Next, we have BYU taking on the winner of Michigan State and UCLA, which will be the Bruins of UCLA. I think that they'll win that game, and I have that by 2.8 points. But then we have BYU knocking off UCLA by 4.3 points to advance to play the winner of Texas and Abilene Christian, which we're going to go with Texas in this matchup. 8.4 point win for Texas to advance to play BYU. And then next we have UConn taking on Maryland. And we're going to have the Huskies knocking off the Terrapins by 2.3 points. And then we have Alabama versus Iona, and Alabama knocks off Iona by 7.1 points. And now we head to the Midwest Conference, headlined by number 1 Illinois taking on Drexel to start it off. They get the 10.8 point win over Drexel, and they will play the winner of Loyola Chicago and Georgia Tech, which will be the Jackets here of Georgia Tech. They get the 0.9 point win over Loyola Chicago and will advance on to play the number 1 Fighting Illini. Next, we have Tennessee taking on Oregon State. And for this matchup, this is another one where the 12 seed coming in hot. But we're going to go with the Volunteers here. I think they can get the win in this game. 2.9 point win for Tennessee, as they'll advance to play the winner of Oklahoma State and Liberty, which is going to be Oklahoma State. This is going to be a fun matchup between the 4 and the 5 between Oklahoma State and Tennessee. But next we get number 6 San Diego State versus number 11 Syracuse. And Syracuse is one of those teams that is always dangerous in the tournament. But I think this tournament is short-lived for the Orange. They get knocked off in the first round by San Diego State by 0.4 points. So close to an upset here. But I feel like the winner of this Syracuse game, Syracuse and San Diego State, can potentially advance past West Virginia, which we have West Virginia winning that game by 7 points over Morehead State. And then next we have Clemson taking on Rutgers, which we actually have Clemson taking care of business here by 6.7 points against Rutgers. And they'll play the winner of Cleveland State and Houston, which they'll get the Cougars in the second round, a 19.1 point win over Cleveland State. All right, we go back up to the top of this bracket for the round of 32, starting with Gonzaga taking on Missouri, as we're going to take Gonzaga here, a 5-point win over the Missouri Tigers, and they will advance to play the winner of Creighton and Ohio, and Creighton gets the job done versus Ohio here by 0.2 points. So my numbers really like Ohio in this state. I'll probably bet them the first 2 rounds here to get the wins. And then next we have USC taking on Kansas, and we're going to go with the Jayhawks here to advance, a 3.8 point win over the Trojans. Then we have Oregon taking on Iowa, and we're going to have the Hawkeyes advancing a 2.8 point win over Oregon, the Ducks. Next we have in the east side here, we have Michigan versus St Bonaventure, and this is going to be a fun matchup. This is going to be a more competitive matchup than people think. We're going with Michigan, a 3-point win, but I almost pulled the trigger on St Bonaventure winning this game, so watch out, upset alert. I think St Bonaventure could have a shot. I'm not picking them in this video, but I think they have a shot to knock out this Michigan team. But one team I do have an upset alert in is Georgetown. We're going to go with the number 12 Hoyas, making the Sweet 16 after a 2.2-point win over Florida State. So a very good run here, as they will get a date with Michigan in the Sweet 16. And that should be a fun matchup as well. And then next we get Byu taking on Texas. And actually we're going with Byu knocking off the Longhorns, a 1.7-point win for Byu, as they'll take on the winner of UConn and Alabama, which will be Bama. Roll Tide here as they get a 1-point win over UConn. Should be a fun little matchup there between Byu and Alabama. Next, we'll go to the Midwest, where we have Illinois starting it off versus Georgia Tech. And I think the Fighting Illini get the job done here. They advance to the next round to play the winner of Tennessee and Oklahoma State. Illinois gets a 3.1-point win over Georgia Tech. Next matchup we have here is Tennessee and Oklahoma State. And we are going to be going with the Cowboys advancing over the Volunteers. A 1.2-point win for Oklahoma State over the Tennessee Volunteers, as they will advance to play Illinois in the Sweet 16. Next, we have San Diego State taking on West Virginia, and we're going with San Diego State to advance here. A 0.1-point win for San Diego State over West Virginia. Definitely a very close contest this will be, and we're going with the slight upset, the 6 over the 3. Got a couple 6s advancing to the Sweet 16, and they will take on the winner of Clemson and Houston, as Houston will get the job done and knock off Clemson by 5.6 points. As we move up to the south side of the bracket now, as we have Baylor versus North Carolina, and this was one where I almost pulled the trigger on that 8 seed. I was really tempted to put North Carolina in my Sweet 16, but I just don't see it. Baylor is just too strong. Now, they will be going up against the winner of Villanova and Purdue. And we're going to be going with the 4 seed Purdue here to knock off Villanova. I think Villanova will have enough to knock off Winthrop, but not Purdue. I think the Boilermakers are a very good sleeper in this tournament. And I think they can make a pretty deep run to at least the Elite 8, as they will, Sweet 16, my bad. And then next we'll have Texas Tech taking on Arkansas, and in a very, very close game, we're going to have the Red Raiders knocking off Arkansas here, knocking off the Hogs, and advancing. We like them 6 seeds. I think 3 of them advance to the Sweet 16, as they will play the winner of Florida and Ohio State. And Ohio State will edge out Florida by 1.8 points to advance to the Sweet 16 versus Texas Tech. Now we will head back up to the Gonzaga side of this in the West to find out who goes to the Elite 8. We are starting it off with Gonzaga taking on Creighton, and we are going with the Bulldogs of Gonzaga, a 5.8-point win over Creighton to advance to the Elite 8 to take on Iowa and the Hawkeyes. Should be a really good matchup between these two teams. Iowa will get a 1.8-point win over Kansas in the Sweet 16 to advance to play Gonzaga in the Elite 8. Next we get Michigan taking on Georgetown, as this should be a decent game here. We are going with Michigan, though, to knock off the Hoyas and end their little Cinderella run and advance to the Elite 8 to take on Alabama, as we have this as a pick'em game, basically. My numbers have this as a 0, but we're going to go with Alabama here. I feel like they're the better overall team, and I think they can get the win here over BYU. Next, we have Baylor taking on Purdue. And this will be, if I can find my notes here, there we go. This will be the first number 1 seed eliminated from the tournament. Purdue will advance and knock out Baylor, number 1, in a 1.6 point win over the Baylor Bears. And they will be taking on the winner of Texas Tech and Ohio State. Ohio State knocked them out in the Big Ten tournament, but they're not going to be seeing them as Texas Tech knocks off Ohio State to advance to the Elite Eight. This Texas Tech team is very slept on, I feel, as they will advance to the Elite Eight. So we got 6 of our Elite Eight teams with Gonzaga, Iowa, Purdue, Texas Tech, Michigan, and Alabama. And now we have 2 more Elite Eight teams to figure out here, as we will have, if I can find my page for it, there we go, as we will have Illinois taking on Oklahoma State in the Sweet 16 matchup here. And we're going to be going with the Fighting Illini knocking off Oklahoma State, and it's as the number 1 seed, as a 3.7 point win, as they'll be taking on Houston in the next round as they knock off San Diego State by 3.5 points. So at the end of all this, we have 3 1 versus 2 matchups, and we have a 4 versus a 6. All right, starting with Gonzaga versus Iowa. This should be a really good game, and my numbers have this as less than 1 point deciding these two teams. 0.7 points as Gonzaga moves on to the Final Four, as they'll be taking on the winner of Michigan and Alabama. And actually, we are going with an upset in this one. Roll Tide, as the Alabama Crimson Tide knocks off Michigan in the Elite Eight to face Gonzaga in the Final Four. And then next, we will have Purdue versus Texas Tech here, as this is going to be another close game. 0.6 points separated Purdue and Texas Tech, as we are going with the Boilermakers to make it to the Final Four, as they'll be taking on the winner of Illinois and Houston. And with this game, we are looking at, there we go, another super close decision here, as we have the Fighting Illini by 0.3 points, knocking off Houston in the Elite Eight to play in the Final Four versus Purdue. Now we have number 1 Gonzaga taking on number 2 Alabama in the Final Four for a shot in the championship game. And we're going with Gonzaga to knock off Alabama by 0.6 points. And they will make the national championship versus the winner of Purdue and Illinois. And for this one, we have 1.9 points separating these two teams, as the Fighting Illini will make it all the way to the national championship to play Gonzaga. And for my winner here, well, 0.8 points separates these two teams, as we are going with the Fighting Illini to win the national championship, and we're going to go with 78-76, as we have 0.9 points separating these two teams, but we'll go with a 2-point finish for this one, as the Fighting Illini are your national champions of college basketball, as they will win the entire thing versus Gonzaga. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know in the comment section below, guys. What are your thoughts on my bracket? What are you looking at for your national championship? Who do you think are going to be some big upsets, some sleeper teams? Let me know in the comment section below. I definitely want to have some interaction with you guys, and I want to know your thoughts on this bracket and on your bracket. But that is going to just about do it for this video. I want to thank you guys for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe as always. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, guys.